All right, everybody, ready to dive in. Today we're tackling NMN, the supplement everyone's buzzing about.
Seems like it's everywhere you look these days.
Right. Anti-aging, health benefits, you name it. NMN is supposedly the answer.
And with that comes, well, a lot of noise to cut through.
Exactly. So we rolled up our sleeves and dug into 5 recent studies to bring you the real deal on NMN, from whether what's in that capsule is actually what it says on the label.
Which, spoiler alert, isn't always the case.
Tell me about it. That first study out of geroscience was a real eye-opener.
I actually laughed out loud when I saw those results. Some supplements, zero detectable NMN.
Wait, you're kidding? Like not even a trace?
Nope, not a single molecule. And then others had way more than they claimed.
Talk about a quality control nightmare.
Right. And we're not talking about some obscure brands here either. This was across the board, highlighting a major need for better regulation in the supplement world.
It makes you wonder what you're actually getting in those bottles.
For sure, it's not just about getting what you pay for, but about knowing what you're putting into your body.
Absolutely. So takeaway number 1, supplement quality is everything. But let's say you find a trustworthy NMN source. What can it actually do? This next study in biochemical and biophysical research communications looked at its effects on, get this, the heart in simulated weightlessness.
Yeah, this one was pretty wild. They used mice to simulate microgravity, which we know takes a toll on the cardiovascular system.
Space travel, here we come.
Well, maybe not quite yet. But what they found was that NMN seemed to protect against some of those negative changes.
So like a cosmic shield for your ticker.
Kind of. What's fascinating is how it seems to work, influencing those crucial NAD levels.
Which, reminder for everyone, are essential for our cells to function properly.
Exactly. And the study even delved into how NMN affects gene expression related to the heart, opening up a whole new avenue of questions about its impact on other organs as we age.
So much to uncover. But hold on, folks, because the next study, published in Theranostics, dives into something that might hit a little closer to home for some of us, bone health. Specifically, how NMN impacts fracture healing.
And the results were pretty remarkable.
Don't hold out on us what they find.
NMN actually seems to speed up the healing process.
No way, for real.
Yeah, it appears to create an environment where stem cells in bone tissue are encouraged to multiply, leading to faster, stronger bone repair. They even looked at the callus, that bony lump that forms around a fracture.
I've seen enough x-rays to know exactly what you're talking about.
Right, well, NMN seemed to have a positive effect on the stem cells involved in cartilage formation there, too. Like, it was giving the body this extra boost to bounce back.
Okay, this is why I love these deep dives. Always something new. But how does it work? What's the mechanism?
That's where it gets even cooler. The study found that NMN might be interacting with, get this, macrophages.
Hold up, macrophages.
Those are immune cells, so what do they have to do with bones?
It's amazing, actually. Macrophages are like the body's cleanup crew, essential for tissue repair, including bones. They swoop in, clear out debris, signal other cells to come help, and even influence stem cells. It's this whole intricate dance.
And NMN might be the choreographer.
It seems that way. Okay, so we're talking heart health, bone health. You're not going to believe this next one, the brain. This study in particle and fiber toxicology just blew me away. They were looking at NMN and its effect on mice exposed to air pollution.
Yeah, it's a big concern these days, especially for brain health as we age.
It's like our brains are under attack from all sides.
Unfortunately, that's the reality for many. But this study offered a glimmer of hope, suggesting that NMN might actually offer some protection against those harmful effects.
Wait, are you saying NMN could be like a shield for our brains against pollution? How does that even work?
Well, it appears that NMN might influence lipid metabolism in the brain. They focused on areas like the hippocampus, crucial for memory, and found that air pollution actually increased specific lipids that are linked to inflammation. But NMN, it seemed to counteract that effect.
Okay, so NMN might be a brain bodyguard. Who knew? But before we all run out and buy NMN in bulk, let's talk safety. That's where our final study published in Toxicology Reports comes in. They really dug into NMN's potential toxicity.
Which is a crucial question everyone wants to know. Is this stuff safe?
Right, like, are we all going to sprout wings if we start taking it?
Not quite. But they put these rats through the ringer, gave them high doses of NMN, and monitored them closely for any signs of trouble, organ function, behavior, you name it.
So what happened? Spill the tea?
The good news is NMN was generally well tolerated, even at those high doses. No major red flags. They even looked at their DNA for any damage. No mutations.
Well, that's a relief. But rats in a lab, living their best lives, Not exactly a perfect comparison to us humans, is it?
You're right. We're more complicated, to say the least. Animal studies are a great starting point, but we need those long-term studies in humans to really understand the full picture, especially when it comes to different doses and how they affect us in the long run.
So, where does this leave us? Should we be stocking up on NMN or what?
These studies give us a really fascinating peek behind the curtain of NMN's potential. We see these hints of benefits for bone health, heart health, even protecting our brains. It's honestly pretty incredible. But, and this is a big but, we gotta temper that excitement with a healthy dose of caution.
Especially after that whole supplement accuracy debacle.
Exactly. Finding a reputable source is non-negotiable if you're considering NMN. And just as important, talk to your doctor before adding anything new to your routine.
Always good advice.
They can help you figure out if it's right for you, consider any potential interactions with medications you might be taking, and find the right dosage.
Because it's not a one-size-fits-all situation, right?
Exactly. Knowledge is power, and in this case, it's about making informed decisions for your health.
Couldn't agree more. So, the NMN verdict is still out, but it's a field with tons of potential.
For sure. What's most fascinating to me is the sheer complexity of what NMN seems to be doing in the body. It's not just about boosting NAD levels, it's the ripple effect it has on all these different processes at a cellular level. Like that fracture healing study, that was wild.
Right. NMN, macrophages, stem cells, all working together.
And then to see it potentially guarding the brain against things like pollution, that's a game changer in how we approach healthy aging and resilience.
Okay, so let's say someone's listening. They're dealing with age-related cognitive decline or recovering from a fracture, and they're thinking about NMN. What's your advice?
First and foremost, talk to your doctor. Everyone's different, and they can help you navigate your specific needs and risks.
Can't stress that enough.
And if you do decide to explore NMN, be smart about it. Find a reputable company, do your research.
So don't fall for those slashy promises.
Exactly. And lastly, manage those expectations. NMN isn't a magic bullet. It's not going to make you immortal.
No fountain of youth in a pill.
Not yet, at least. It might support healthy aging, potentially aid recovery, maybe even help us deal with environmental stressors, but it's not a free pass.
It's a tool, not a magic wand.
Perfectly said. And like any tool, it's most effective when used wisely and under the right guidance.
It's true. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to our health.
Absolutely. And speaking of power, that brings us to our closing thought for today. We've explored some fascinating research, but really, we're just scratching the surface when it comes to NMN.
I always love a good cliffhanger.
Yeah.
What else do we need to find out about NMN?
Well, we've talked about the potential benefits, but what about those long-term effects? And what's the ideal dose for different people, based on their goals and health backgrounds? And then there's the whole question of how NMN interacts with other things we might be taking, like medications or even other supplements.
So many layers to peel back. It's pretty exciting.
It really is. And that's the beauty of science, this constant journey of discovery. As we dig deeper into NMN, who knows what we'll find? Maybe even overturn some of what we think we know now.
So what's the biggest takeaway for our listeners today?
I'd say walk away with a healthy dose of curiosity and a good bit of skepticism. Don't just take headlines at face value. Do your own research, ask questions, think critically.
Be your own advocate.
Exactly. And never forget that health is a personal journey. What works for your neighbor might not work for you.
No one-size-fits-all solution.
Exactly. So arm yourself with knowledge, have those conversations with your doctor, and make the choices that feel right for you and your own health journey.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, that wraps up our deep dive on NMN for today. We hope you found it insightful, engaging, and maybe even a little inspiring.
And remember, keep that curiosity alive, stay informed, and never stop asking those great questions.
Until next time, happy exploring, everyone.